Hi, my name is Kate Grillo. I'm an assistant professor here in the UF Anthropology department. My research tries to understand the archaeology and ethnoarchaeology of African pastoralism. So pastoralism is a way of life centered on the management and herding of livestock. And in Africa, of course, that means cattle and sheep and goats and donkeys and sometimes camels. And it's been really successful in Africa for probably at least 8,000 years. In many parts of Africa, including arid drylands in East Africa where I work, it's really one of the only viable ways to make a living because farming is impossible in places where rainfall is unpredictable or patchy. And it continues to be a really important way of life today, and so I'm trying to understand the archaeological history of this way of life. Now, archaeologists have always thought that mobile peoples, however, would be difficult to find in the archaeological record because, of course, they move around, and so their houses would be relatively ephemeral. And archaeologists have often assumed that people who move around wouldn't have a lot of heavy and breakable goods like pottery or grindstones are quite difficult to carry around. But of course we do find those things on archaeological sites, and my research helps to try to figure out why. And so I do this in 3 different ways. I do ethnoarchaeology, which is working with modern cattle herding communities in northern Kenya to try to understand how and why they make pottery, for example, how and why they use pottery and grinding stones and other technologies. And then I also excavate sites. So I work in 2 different areas. One is in northern Kenya in a place called the Turkana Basin, which is famous for paleontology, but also has a very important Holocene record as well. And we are excavating megalithic cemetery sites. And I also work in Tanzania to the south on a site that's about 3,000 years old called Luxmanda. And it's a huge village site, which again is surprising given that we thought these were mobile peoples. And so that's my research. Thanks.